Good morning students. Today in this video we are going to do the question answers of chapter 2 from trade to territory. I've already circulated the question answer. Now in this video I'm going to discuss it. The first question was, what attracted European trading companies to India? The fine qualities of cotton and silk produced in India had a big market in Europe. And along with the clothes, the Indian spices were also very popular in the Europe. So because of the Indian spices and the Indian clothes, the European companies came to India. Okay. The second question was, what were the areas of conflict between the Bengal Nawab and the East India Company? Okay. We have all in the classes we have done this in detail, that what were the major areas of conflict. We have done that the Aurangzeb have given farman to the company that they can do the trade without giving any kind of a taxes. But later on what happened, the company officials, they also started doing private trade without giving any kind of tax. Now that was the major area of conflict between the Bengal Nawab and the East India Company. Now if we will do point wise, then the first point you must remember that the Bengal Nawab was after the death of Aurangzeb. Murshid Quli Khan became the Nawab of Bengal. Now Murshid Quli Khan, and after him up to the Sirajud-Dowla, these rulers were very powerful, and they no more wanted to they don't wanted company to misuse that farman anymore. The Bengal Nawab refused to grant the company concessions, demanded large tributes for the company's right to trade, denied it any right to mint the coins, and stopped it from extending its fortification. Now the Bengal Nawab, they were very unhappy because neither company was paying any kind of a tax, nor its officials were paying any kind of a tax, and because of that they were facing the huge revenue loss. That was the one thing. Secondly, the company later on started to do the fortification also in the areas where their factories were situated. Now no king can allow any company to do fortification in its area, so that was also major area of conflict. The company also started to mint the coins. You all know that the making of the coins or making of the currency is the responsibility of the government, but company started to mint the coins, and that was also not acceptable to the Nawab. And above all, even all the Nawabs feel that company is doing conspiracy against them. They were supporting or the opponents of the Nawab. So this was also Nawab felt. Now on the other hand, what company said? The company said, if we are going to pay the tax, how we will make the profit? Now company said that we came here for making the profit. If we are going to pay the tax, then how we will make the profit? So we are not going to give the tax. And the company also wanted to have more and more area for the collection of revenue and for extending its business, they wanted to make more factories also. So this was the main area of conflict between the Bengal Nawab and the company. Okay, then the third question was, how did the assumption of Diwani benefit the East India Company? Now, Diwani means the moment company became Diwan after Battle of Buxar, they were allowed to collect the revenue of Bengal. Now, Bengal was a vast area, not only the vast province of India, it was also one of the richest and the most fertile area. Now once the company became the Diwan of the Bengal, its all financial problems were sorted out. Now it do not need to bring the gold and silver from England to purchase the Indian goods. Now from that revenue only it can easily purchase the Indian clothes, Indian spices. Now from that revenue only they advanced their army. From that revenue only, what they did, they started maintaining the large troops, and they also started building the company's fort and offices at Kolkata. So if we talk about that, what really helped the Diwani, what happened after the assumption of Diwani. After the assumption of Diwani, you must remember all the financial problems of the company were sorted out. Now they are having the surplus money, more money than what they really required. From that, earlier they were bringing the gold and silver to purchase the Indian clothes, but now from that revenue they can easily purchase the Indian goods without bringing the money from England. That is the first point. Secondly, by that revenue, they started not maintaining the large troops. They started recruiting more sipais. They made their army more stronger. And they also extended their fortification and built up more offices in Kolkata. So in other way, we can say through the Diwani, the company was now in a position to extend its business and conquer more Indian areas. Now, the next and the important question is, what was the subsidiary alliance? Now, subsidiary alliance was it was an alliance between the company and the Indian ruler. According to the terms of this alliance, Indian rulers were not allowed to have their own independent armed forces. First and the most important, that Indian rulers were not allowed to have their independent armed forces. They were to be protected by the company, but had to pay for the subsidiary forces that the company was supposed to maintain for the purpose of this protection. Now, whosoever entered in that contract, whosoever signed that contract of subsidiary alliance, that ruler was not supposed to maintain their own standing army. Instead of their own army, they had to keep the company's army within their territory. And whatever cost the company army needed, like the company officials must be getting the salary, they must be needing the space to live, they must need the arms and ammunition. So all the cost of the subsidiary forces had to be bared by the ruler who signed that agreement. Now just see, the company's army is there. Now the army do not belong to the ruler, it belonged to the company. But whatever cost that army needed to maintain itself, that was to be bared by the ruler. And the East India Company said that instead of your army, now my army is going to protect you in case of any attack. If the Indian rulers failed to make the payment, then part of their territory was taken away as penalty. In case if they fail that they are not able to, give that money for maintenance of subsidiary forces, the part of their territory was taken away as penalty. For example, when Richard Wellesley was Governor General, the Nawab of Awadh was forced to give over half of his territory to the company in 1801. Okay, so subsidiary alliance is very important. You must remember that according to this alliance, the Indian rulers were not allowed to maintain their own army. Instead of their own army, they were keeping the subsidiary forces. The forces belonged to the East India Company within their own territory. Now whatever the cost of running this, whatever the cost required by the army, that had to be given by the ruler. In case if they failed to give that cost, the part of their territory was taken away as penalty. Okay, now remaining two questions we will discuss in the next video. Thank you.